Welcome. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
You know, it's a lot for you to take a night out during your busy December and to come and spend it with me and our team here, and so I appreciate that. And I'm looking forward to this time we're going to spend together today. My name is Stacy, and Stacy Shafka. My husband's the pastor here at our church. This is Pastor
Hello.
Steve. And I have a great team here that works with me. We are the New Beginnings Health Team. We're a ministry here at the Brighton Seventh Adventist Church. We've been doing health classes for the community long before we got here. We got here 8 years ago. So I don't know, 12 years maybe, they've been doing classes here. We've been doing pretty consistently for the last couple years. Even during COVID, we kept them up through Zoom and such, and that's when we actually met some of you. But we do a combination of different classes. We do plant-based cooking classes like you're at tonight, and we also do wellness classes. We just finished up an 8-week Diabetes Undone, diabetes recovery program that just concluded right before Thanksgiving, and we had about 30 people go through that. So we try to encourage people to improve their health in many different ways. I want to talk about what's in your gift packet tonight. Because it's Christmas, we give you all a little gift. And so there's a lot of different items in there, and I want to refer to a few of those, including your recipes, which are going to be helpful as we go along. But let's look at some of the things that are in your packet. We gave you a nice magazine on principles of health. There's 8 of them, and this is a beautiful magazine packed full of scientific information about health and also from a biblical perspective. And then we gave you, a little treat just because it's Christmas, something healthy, a little honey stick in there. And then there is our business card. So this is really important. You might want to grab a couple extras of these on the table and take these with you. This is a great way to let people know about the class that you came to. They can go to our Facebook page and like it to know when we're doing upcoming events, or they can let us know they want to be on our mailing list. We also have a YouTube channel. So tonight's class and all of our classes we record. It goes then on our YouTube channel, and then you can share it with a friend or maybe catch a class that you missed. Last December, we did a whole class on Christmas dinner favorites, where we made a vegan pumpkin pie, a green bean casserole, a sweet potato casserole, and a wild rice stuffing. It was all amazing, and if you want to go watch that class and download any of those recipes, you'll find it on our YouTube channel. The recipes are just listed in the description underneath that. So all you do is look for New Beginnings Health Team on YouTube, and you'll find all of our past classes. So yeah, we're on Meetup as well. Anybody come tonight for Meetup? Okay, a couple of you learned about us through Meetup. And we want to encourage you, hopefully if you're new and haven't been to our events before, you filled out the registration card when you came in. That allows us to let you know when we're doing upcoming classes. It also lets us know what kind of topics you might have an interest in. We have actually done classes that people have requested. For example, last January, we did a class called Plant-Based Eating 101. So we call our classes plant-based. Some people use the term vegan or vegetarian. We use the term plant-based, but basically it's meats without dairy, without eggs, without meat. And when people are trying to transition to that type of diet, they often don't know how to get started. So this 101 class was a perfect introduction, like how to go grocery shopping, how to make substitutions in a recipe, and how to get protein as a vegetarian. So if you're kind of thinking about switching plant-based or you're kind of new to it, that would be a good class to go watch on our YouTube channel. So if you have an idea for a future class, write it down, and we might actually be able to do that. So, okay, let's see what else is in here. Upcoming events. Let's look at what's coming up. So next month in January, on January 19th, we're doing one of our wellness classes. This one is called Natural Remedies for Winter Wellness. And we are going to talk about how to boost your immune system, find relief from cough and congestion, and promote healing without the need of medication. There are times when you need medication or a doctor, but there are a lot of things you can do to help your body to heal or to prevent illness. And then when you start getting that scratchy throat, or you start coming out with that cough, you start getting congestion, you get a little bronchitis, what can you do? So this class is going to be a very much a demonstration class. We're going to be demonstrating how to make an elderberry syrup, a nature's flu shot, doing some chest and hot foot bath treatments using hot and cold water. The therapeutic use of that is called hydrotherapy. We have a whole class we did on that. It's on our YouTube channel. You can go check that out if you want the full thing. And even an onion poultice. We talked about that in our poultice class earlier this year, but we're going to pull that one back out because it's definitely related to respiratory illnesses. So this is a great one, winter wellness. Come and RSVP for that class. And then our next cooking class will be in March, and my friend Stephanie Howard is going to be coming and demoing recipes from her cookbook, Give Them Something Better. And you don't want to miss it because this is an awesome cookbook. And I actually used one of the recipes from her cookbook in our March plant-based breakfast class, her unsausage recipe. Some of you remember that oat sausage? Oh, so good. That came from Stephanie's cookbook. So come and to that class. So those are our two upcoming health events. We also have a Christmas program coming up on the 24th on Christmas Eve in the morning. So if you don't have a church you're connected with, or you don't have anywhere to go Christmas Eve morning, there is an invite in there for that, as well as an info about our church and when our services and such are. Did I cover everything in the bag? I think I did a pretty good job, right? Awesome. Okay. And hopefully you've found restrooms around the corners if you need those. We have hot teas, and there's some deep coffee substitutes over there too as well if you want something like that. Hot chocolate. We also made a special hot apple cider for you tonight, so some of you may have grabbed that. If not, feel free to go get that. That's not a recipe I'm demoing, that's just a bonus we threw in there. But it's super simple. It's just apple juice, cinnamon sticks, and organic sliced oranges. And that's it. Very simple. Okay, so before we dismiss you to get some food, I want to have a little devotional thought with you, because I personally believe that health and wellness and your spiritual life are all connected. That's how God designed us. We are spiritual, mental, emotional, physical individuals. And the best manual for health is the Bible. Now, we're at the Christmas season. So as I was thinking about the holidays, and particularly this class, which I've been looking forward to doing this one, I started planning this like a year ago. I started thinking, I want to do a class that's on appetizers and treats and things to take to a holiday party, because this is the time of year when we do things like that, right? Where there's work parties, maybe you're getting together with coworkers, or maybe you're going out for a night with some friends, or you're inviting people over to your home, and then there's New Year's Eve parties. It seems like there's always gatherings happening this time of year. And that's really what the Christmas to me is about, the holidays are about, is togetherness, being together. And yet there's another form of togetherness that we should celebrate at the holidays, and it's found in the Christmas story. So I'm just going to open my Bible here and go to Matthew chapter 1 and read 21 through 23. And she will bring forth a son, and you will call his name Jesus, for he will save his people from their sins. So all this was done that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by the Lord through the prophet, saying, Behold, a virgin will be with child and bear a son. They will call his name Emmanuel, which is translated, God with us. God with us. Think about it. Jesus, the God of the universe, came here to be with us. And why would he want to leave there and come and be here with us? One reason, and it's love. And Christmas is about love, isn't it? It's spending time with those we love. It's giving gifts that express our love to show them that we love them. And this is what the original Christmas was all about, is God expressing love. Many of you who have maybe a faith background know the most well-known verse in the Bible is John 3:16. And if you want, you can quote that with me. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. This is the gift of love given at that first, what we call Christmas today, is God's Son being given as a gift so that we can have everlasting life. Because you see, God loves us so much, he couldn't fathom spending eternity without you. He wants to be with you together forever. That's what it's all about. Christmas is all about togetherness. God wants to be together with you for eternity. And so he offers this gift of salvation so that we can experience that togetherness. So I'm going to take you to one more verse, and this is the last verse, and it's in Revelation chapter 3, verse 20, and it's a verse about getting together for dinner. Since we're going to be doing a lot of that over the holidays, but this is Jesus's invitation. It's written in red in my Bible. And it says, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come into him and dine with him, and he with me." This Christmas, Jesus is politely knocking on the door of each of our hearts. And he's saying, can I come in and spend some time together with you? Can we have dinner together? And you don't have to worry about making the perfect appetizer or the perfect treat or figuring out what you're going to serve, because what I know about Jesus, he brings all the food. He brings all the blessings. And those blessings are things like forgiveness and peace and joy and a pure heart and his righteousness and comfort and guidance. And all we have to do is say, come in, and you bring all the blessings. And we can experience dinner with Jesus this holiday season. So as you're getting together with your family and friends over the holidays, don't forget the most important guest to invite. And that is our Savior who came at this time. Togetherness with him for now and eternity. That is the ultimate Christmas gift. And I hope and pray all of you receive that Christmas gift this year. Let's pray for our food and for our time together tonight. Dear God, we want to thank you for this holiday season and for being able to just take a moment tonight to stop and have a little time of fun and learning about health, and also reflecting on the best gift that has ever been given, and that is Jesus Christ, who came and died that we might have eternity with you, togetherness forever. I pray, Lord, that everyone here in this room will experience that, and if they haven't received that gift before, they will do that tonight. Bless this meal, Lord. Bless this time we spend together. Bless this food. May it nourish everyone. And I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, so what we're going to do now is let you get your food. You will see what is out there. We have three appetizers. Spinach artichoke dip with pita bread. Everything tonight is gluten-free except for the pita bread. So if you are gluten-free, just get crackers instead. So you have your spinach artichoke dip. We have a cheese ball, the one that you saw in the picture, with pomegranates. And there is also a sweet and sour meatball. And then you have two desserts. One is a brownie, and the other is a we would call them Christmas orange balls. So let's start with these two tables over here, and then we'll go with these two tables, and then we'll catch the floor in the middle. Okay? How's the food?
Wonderful.
Oh, very good. I'm glad you're liking it. I think everybody's gotten some, and I think we have enough that if you wanted to get a little bit more, you can feel free to go up and get seconds of something. My husband said make sure you make enough brownies for everyone to get 2 or 3. Obviously, that was his favorite on the menu. I forgot to mention, in fact, actually, I forgot to put it in your Christmas bags, but I wanted to make sure you had that. And that was a free Christmas offer we had for the Creation Life study guides. So I have this pack here. There's 8 in this set. And they cover different health topics from a biblical perspective. So you'd have one on choices, rest, one on nutrition, positive outlook, activity, exercise. So many great topics. In fact, a group of us earlier this year went through them as a little study group. We had soup and we went through a topic. And if there was enough people interested in doing that, I'd start another little study group and we'll do soup and study. We did it every other week and it was really fun. But these are great lessons to learn more about health and also from a Christian perspective. So free gift for you if you're interested in getting these. Just fill out this little sheet we gave you and turn it into Marilyn there at the registration table, and then we'll get them, contact you and get them to you. Okay? So it's just a little extra Christmas gift we want to make available to you. All right, so we're going to go through our recipes. We gave you a bonus recipe. I know on the flyer it had a picture of Christmas cookies. And you'll be like, where's the Christmas cookies? Well, you know, we can only have so much time. So we're giving you a bonus recipe that was from a previous cooking class we had done. That's almond whole grain sugar cookies. This is a healthier Christmas cookie. So if you are wanting to make Christmas cookies and looking for a better recipe, that is there for you. What we're going to do tonight is I'm going to start off with 2 of our entrees. I think I'm going to start off with the festive roasted garlic herb cheese ball. And that was this one right here.
Yeah.
You guys, I heard some of you say you really like this one.
It's really good, and it's so festive for sure.
It's very festive, and the ladies did such a nice, pretty job there serving. So this is one recipe is how much it makes. So depending on how much you are making for a group, this might be what you want to do. At the holidays, people often do things, and I don't even remember how to pronounce it, but it's with a board and it has cheeses on it and charcuterie. I can never say that word. But this is a good cheese ball that you could put on a platter like that with your crackers and your nuts and your dried fruits. And someone just gave me this for Christmas, and because we're a plant-based cooking class, I had to bring it. It says milk, plants, and hug cows. Because we're talking about nut cheeses, not cheese. Anyways, that was very cute. They gave me a couple of these different nut cheeses. So you can buy nut cheeses like these at places like Whole Foods and Better Health. But we're making one from scratch, which is cheaper, and you can make it then however you like. So let's grab my ingredients here. Okay, let us start our recipe. So for this recipe, you're going to need a high-powered either blender or food processor. I'm using a little tiny mini Vitamix. And the key with this recipe is to soak your cashews overnight or at least quite a few hours because you want them to be soft. It helps to make your cheese ball creamy, and it also helps to take some of that cashewy taste out of them. So this is 1 cup of cashews that was soaked. I'm putting that in my blender. And then we put in our roasted garlic. Now the way you do that, it's very simple. You're just gonna take a piece of foil like this. If you want to save yourself time, you go to Aldi's and you buy peeled garlic. Oh, so nice, especially when I was making a whole bunch of these. I would have spent hours doing this. Okay, so you take just 6, and you can add more garlic if you want. I'm going to say 6 large cloves. Now, you know how garlic is. Some cloves are big and some of them are really small. So if you have small ones, throw 2 of them in. So you put all your garlic in your foil. Then you just drizzle a tiny little bit of olive oil, just a tiny bit. Then fold it up like this and put it in your oven. Now, I have one of those like little toaster ovens. I just put it in there for 20 minutes at 350. And out it comes, all nice and soft. And that is what is going in my blender. My roasted garlic.
Yeah, how long do you put that in the oven?
20 minutes.
Thank you.
Or till it's soft. Okay, now what I have? Lemon juice. Fresh squeezed lemon juice. So 3 tablespoons. And then we're using coconut milk, the full fat version. I just have, actually this is a light one, but it'll work just the same. Coconut milk, the canned coconut milk. Depending on how thick your coconut milk is, this can get a little bit hard to blend. Coconut milk as it sits tends to get thicker. Or not as it sits, as it gets, when it's cold, it gets thicker. Okay, so coconut milk is in. Now I'm putting in a little bit of melted coconut oil. This is just to help it, and it was melted, but it's not so much anymore. This is to help it get a little thicker. I found with this cheese ball that when it first comes out of the fridge, it's more firm. It sits out for a while, it gets a little bit softer. And the coconut oil, when it's cold, solidifies. So it helps your cheese ball have a little bit more shape. Okay, and now we are putting in, a tablespoon of nutritional yeast flakes. So for those of you who may not be familiar with those, nutritional yeast flakes, where's my can you grab my nutritional yeast flakes that's on the spinach artichoke platter? So you can buy these at, this is Kroger's brand. There is another version she's going to bring out. You'll find this in the baking aisle. Basically, nutritional yeast flakes is my notes here. It's a deactivated yeast, so it's not like baking yeast or something like that. They call it deactivated. And it's very high in B vitamins, especially vitamin B12, which a lot of vegetarians wonder, how am I going to get my vitamin B12? So this is a very good source of that. And it also, what else did I have here? It gives it like a nutty, cheesy flavor. There it is. It's appeared. So we're just putting a tablespoon of this. This is a Bragg's brand. I put this in any, was this just here? Maybe I just overlooked it. My mind is in so many places tonight. Okay. So yeah, I put this in any cheese recipe because it gives it such a great taste. Okay, salt. 3/4 teaspoon of salt. This is a 1/2 teaspoon, so we're gonna do 1 1/2 of those. And that's it. Now, here's where the fun begins. Getting this thing blended up. Now, when you have something very thick, you have to stir it a little bit till it starts to. And if it gets stuck, move it until the bubbles release. I don't know, the air pocket gets out, and then it will blend again. You want it to be creamy. Keeps getting stuck. Okay, once you get it nice and soft and smooth, then you add your herbs. Now you can put any herbs in it you want. This is actually dill, rosemary, chives, and parsley. And the parsley was from my garden, actually. I don't really blend it with all the herbs because then it can start to turn green. And I want to keep the herbs in it. Now once you have made your dip like this, you want to mold it. So the easiest way to do that is to use, when it comes to like serving it in a big thing like we did there, I just put it in a casserole dish, okay? But if you're making a small ball like that, then you'll want to use a piece of cheesecloth, something like this, and lay that inside your bowl, and then put all of your herb mixture in there, tie it up and rubber band it, and then put it in the fridge overnight. And that helps it to set up. And then the next morning, or whenever you're gonna serve it, take it out of the wrap, flip it over, and then you can put your pomegranate seeds or almonds or pine nuts or whatever you want to do to make it look festive. And then you're ready to serve it. All right? Any questions on that?
We soak the cashews overnight in water, I
Yes.
assume.
Yes.
What if we soaked them in a plant-based milk? Would that make it creamier or change
I don't-
the texture?
It might. I've never done that actually. I've always just soaked them in water. You could try it. It wouldn't hurt. So yeah. Yeah.
Stacy, did you say you got the garlic at
All
Aldi's?
these. Yeah. And the produce department. All right. I don't know if one of my ladies can come back here. If you can take this to them and they're gonna clean this blender out for me. They can just put it in this if they want. And you can just take that whole platter. Maggie knows what to do. Okay, moving along to our next recipe, which is gonna be the meatballs.
I like them.
All right, we're gonna move on to our meatball recipe. So this recipe, I made it as a sweet and sour because I was looking for something more like a party type. So this is, little skewers. They could just take it just like that, you know. We did it more in a big container because we had so many of you to feed. But if you were doing it more for a party, I would do it more like that with the little toothpicks. This recipe you could use in many different ways. You could make it with spaghetti and meatballs. You could put marinara sauce on it and put it in a hoagie bun. You could form it into a patty if you want to make a burger. There's a lot of options. we're just doing something that's a little bit more an appetizer type. So this recipe is very high in protein, which a lot of vegetarian people who ask about vegetarians is how do you get protein? And what they don't realize is how much protein is in certain things. So let me give you just a couple of the ingredients that are in here. One of the main ingredients is tempeh. This is what it looks like. You can find this in the produce department at Meijer, and it would be kind of in the where the butters and cheeses and that kind of area at Kroger. Same place where you'd find the tofu. It is a soy product. It is fermented soy, and it's pretty much the whole bean, okay? And you steam this, and that's to help take some of the bitter taste off of it. I steamed it for 20 minutes in just a steamer basket. Put that in here. If one of you guys can give me a fork, too. And tempeh has, this one package, which we're putting in here, has 45 grams of protein in this. And now we also putting in here some lentils, a can of lentils, and these have 24 grams of protein. So we've got 60 plus, thank you, grams of protein in this recipe. So lots of plant-based protein. Okay, so what I'm going to start here is you can do this in a food processor if you want. I have tried that. It kind of bogged down my food processor a little bit. So I'm just doing it the old-fashioned way. Let's just try using this. Because some of you may not have a food processor.
Potato masher.
Yeah, potato masher. This is where you get your holiday frustrations out right here.
That'll do it.
Now, using a food processor can work. The first time I tried it, I ran it too long, and, oh, thank you. I ran it too long, and it got mushy, and I want a little texture in my meatball. I don't want something that's just mushy. Okay, so by mashing it, you're still keeping some of the texture of the soybeans. This is a pretty natural product. I mean, you think about soy milk or tofu, it's a little bit more processed. This is just the soybeans. And it's a great source, like I said, of vegetarian protein. Okay, so we've got our tempeh mashed up. And now we're going to add our other ingredients. So you will want to, and for sake of time, I already did this step, and that was to saute my onion, which was, let's see, how much was that? A small onion and 2 cloves of garlic. So I already had sauteed that. So I'm putting that in here. I put brown rice in mine because I wanted, again, a little bit more texture. It's optional. You wouldn't have to put it in here, but I think it gives it a little bit more filling. Now, if you wanted to save time, let's say you're wanting to make a bunch of meatballs quickly, you don't have time to make the brown rice and steam your lentils, then you can do the fast method. And the fast method is buy a can of lentils, organic lentils. Just rinse them, drain them, rinse them, throw them in there. And then if you don't want to take the time to make the rice, you can go the fast, easy route, and that's buy a bag of this at Costco. Organic brown and red rice, put a half a cup of that in there. So those are always nice to have on hand, just in your cupboard, for when you need a quick and easy meal anyways. Brown rice is a great thing to have. And then we're going to add into here our toasted walnuts. So what I did with these is I had just a couple walnuts. I toasted them in a skillet, a dry skillet, and then I just ground them. a little bit. I still wanted to have some of the texture. Some of them are a little bit fine, but I didn't want big chunks of walnuts. So this is probably about right. If you didn't have a food processor to grind those, you could just use a knife and a cutting board and chop them up finely. Okay, and now we're adding in our seasonings. Well, let's see, we have some dried basil. Okay, let's see, dried basil right here. Dried basil, there's a teaspoon of that. And then some salt. I had 1 to 2 teaspoons, but I think 1 teaspoon was about right. You can always taste it and adjust it as you want. And that might also depend on how salty your lentils are or such. If you like made your own, you may not have any salt in them, so you might need a little bit more. And then we're going to add a little flaxseed meal. And the reason I'm adding this is because most meatballs have eggs in them, right? As a binder. This does not have any egg in it, so I'm using the flaxseed meal to help hold it together. And so I've got 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed there. On the tray that has the spinach artichoke dip, I have a container that has some water in it. Can you bring that? Because I may need to add a little moisture, depending on how moist your ingredients are. That's it. I might need a little of that. Okay, what am I missing? Oh, so I'm making these gluten-free, but you could use an all-purpose flour or whole wheat flour. This is just a gluten-free 1-to-1 baking flour. And I put this in these meatballs as well as in the brownies so that anybody who might have been here tonight who is gluten-free could eat them. And that means that if you are serving for a family gathering and you don't know, who's going to all be there, and or somebody there is going to be gluten-free, you can make something that everybody can eat. Okay. So now I mix all this together, and for me, it's a little dry. So I'm going to add a couple tablespoons of water. And you want just enough to kind of hold it together. And this is where you kind of get your hands into it. Just a little bit more. If your rice had just been freshly made, it would be more moist, as with the lentils, so that can all affect the consistency. So here's the test. Grab a little bit, mash it together. If you can form it into a meatball, it's right, okay? If it falls apart, it's too dry, add a little bit more water. But that's basically it. You just take it, mash it, form it into your meatball, and now we're gonna bake them. The original recipe I saw that was a recipe like this actually fried them in oil, but I'm trying to go low fat at Christmas, right? And every day, because we eat too much fat in our diets, right? So baking them is much better. I think in the recipe I may have put 15 minutes and then flip them another 10. And I meant to correct this, but I actually went longer than that. It was like 25 minutes and then flipped them and did it like another 20. It was about 45 minutes total. You want them until they're like lightly browned and they're not soft anymore, okay? And then here's the key with preparing these. Because they don't have eggs in them, they could fall apart a little easier if they were submerged in the sauce and baked that way. So what we did tonight is we heated the meatballs, we heated the sweet and sour sauce separate, and then put it over them just before we served them. And that keeps them looking nice, and they're not falling apart, you know? The sweet and sour sauce, I'm not going to demo tonight. The recipe is on the back, I think, of your thing. It's made with pineapple juice, and it's sweetened with coconut sugar. And for those of you who may not be familiar with coconut sugar, it looks like this, or you can buy it. This is Kroger's brand, Simple Truth. Basically, it's just from the coconut flour, and it's sweet, but it's not refined at all, and it's lower. In fact, this says low glycemic on it. It's a much lower glycemic sugar, and you can substitute for brown sugar anywhere you would have a recipe that calls for brown sugar. So that was the sweetener in there, and then I used apple cider vinegar and a little ketchup and a little Bragg's liquid aminos, or a soy sauce would work, and then you have some cornstarch to thicken it. And that was the sweet sour sauce. Okay, so this is all going to go into the kitchen. And I am ready for my next platter, which is going to be the artichoke dip one.
Hey Stacy,
Yeah.
what is tamari?
Tamari is a form of a soy sauce. Yeah. Thank you.
Do you use arrowroot instead of the corn starch?
Yes, you can.
Is it equal?
It is pretty much equal.
Okay.
Yeah. And I have used that, especially if someone has like a corn allergy.
Yeah.
It's a good one. I'm going to use this blender, so I'm good. Let's see. I do need, if you guys can bring me my oil back.
Oil?
Yeah, the olive oil. Okay, so now we're going to be making our spinach artichoke dip. Now here's some fun things about this recipe. Artichoke dip is something that you often find at restaurants as an appetizer. But it is like one of the most unhealthy things at a restaurant. I started looking up what is in like a typical Olive Garden or Applebee's, artichoke spinach dip, and there are, 6 forms of dairy in it. Butter, whole milk, cream cheese, Romano cheese, mozzarella, and Parmesan. Okay? Yeah. Yeah.
Did you convert each of these recipes, or did you get them from somewhere?
Some of them I made up myself. Some of them I've adapted. One of them came straight from a website, and I labeled that one. That was this one. But yeah, lots of dairy. Olive Garden's spinach artichoke dip has 1,160 calories in it, 81 grams of fat, and 2,400 milligrams of sodium. That is a cholesterol heart attack nightmare right there, So this recipe is dairy-free, pretty much fat-free, low sodium, and guilt-free. And much, much better for you. So our special ingredients for this recipe are silken tofu. So this is what you'll find in the regular tofu section. And I'm just going to throw that because it's about ready to come out of there. It's a soft tofu, where most tofu, you could slice. This one you can. It's more probably the consistency maybe of cream cheese. It's a very soft tofu, and this is kind of replacing your dairy in this recipe. It's also very high in protein, as all soy is. Okay, that's one of the main ingredients. The other main ingredient is the nutritional yeast flakes, which are on my other platter. You'll bring those. And the other ingredient that is not so common is tapioca flour. This is in the cheesy part. And tapioca flour is a thickener, kind of like a cornstarch or an arrowroot, except that it's a little bit more stretchy. So it kind of gives it a little bit more of that stretchiness that would imitate more like melted cheese. Cute. It's awesome. Okay, so we're going to start off by getting our skillet going here because we've got to get our veggies ready. I'm just putting a little bit of olive oil in there. And I'm not sure where my onions went. I had some onions.
They're on the tray up there.
Probably in the kitchen somewhere. When you got 5 dishes going, it's easy to get ingredients mixed up in different places. You guys see any onions in there? A bag of red chopped onions? Maybe in the fridge? Alright, I know there's a couple of artichokes, hearts in here and a couple of garlic cloves, so I'm just gonna mince this. I often use my garlic press, but of course, that's at the house. No, not here.
So tapioca flour is the same thing as
It's tapioca
buy
starch.
Tapioca starch,
Yes.
same thing.
The
Okay.
names are used interchangeably.
Okay.
As a
It's
plant-based
used in a lot of
you use
gluten-free
cornstarch
baking.
Instead of tapioca, because it's cornstarch is plant-based, you also
Yes.
substitute
Yeah.
cornstarch
And
instead of.
you'll often find it in people who are like on keto diets. They often use tapioca. So you'll find it in the baking aisle with all your like gluten-free flours and such. Oh, they found my onions. Okay. Not sure why this isn't turning on. I don't know what's happening here with my skillet, but it doesn't seem to be turning on. So what we're gonna do is modify. Hey Jay, give this to your lovely wife and have her saute it for me in the kitchen. And when things aren't working, you just have to modify it. That's why you have a team, right? Okay, so let's make the this part, the cheesy part, while we're waiting. Okay, so we're gonna put in here our package of silk and soft tofu, then 1 cup of water. And then we're gonna put in here our tapioca starch. 3 tablespoons of that.
Is that also like flour you were saying? Or is that the other?
This one says tapioca flour, also known as tapioca starch. It says that right on the front. Probably for people who are going shopping, I'm like, is this the right thing? Yep, it is. All right, now our nutritional yeast flakes, and it calls for 1/2 cup. So I'm gonna use 2 of these 1/4 cups. And then our lemon juice, 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. And then dried basil. Let's see, is that still here? Did that go back with the other? May have lost that one. This is garlic powder, so it's asking for 1/2 teaspoon of that. looks like about a half a teaspoon. Does anybody do that? They kind of like estimate. Am I the only cook who does that? And that looks about right. And then salt. Let's see my
Tell
salt.
us about the salt you use.
Oh yeah, good question. So I kind of bounce between salts. This is a Celtic sea salt. There's about a teaspoon there, so I'm gonna use that up. Or a little less. This is Redmond real salt. I actually buy this by the tub and use this in all my baking, preserving.
What is it called?
Redmond's real salt. It comes from Utah. It's a Utah-based company. It's very pure, and it's made from some of the salt flats that are out there. It's got all your minerals. It's
Where
awesome.
do you buy it in bulk though?
You can go and buy it from their website. Let's see, realsalt.com.
So what's the difference between that and salt?
So, when it comes to salt, the other one I often usually use Himalayan pink salt. The key is you want a salt that has the minerals still in it. So like Morton salt, it's been stripped of everything and they just threw iodine back into it. But if you get a natural salt, it's going to have a lot more flavor. It often has some color to it. Awesome, guys.
And you won't need to use as much, right?
Okay, here, let me
And
do
it
one
doesn't
more.
have the anti-caking agents.
What's that?
It doesn't have the anti-caking agents in it.
Right. Yeah, it's just so much healthier.
If you're converting another recipe, would you use less of that? Is that, sometimes that tastes saltier to me, but I don't know, would you use less, always?
I
In a
haven't
conventional
noticed it.
oven?
I haven't noticed that I have substituted out, but if you're trying to go more low sodium, you could definitely cut back on the salt. Salt is one of those taste preferences things, you know?
Well, like when you're making eggs and I go to sprinkle it on, I realize, wow, there is salt on there.
Yeah,
And
yeah, exactly.
yeah, so it is more flavorful.
Okay, this is what I'm gonna do, Jay. Because this is not working out here, if you take, honey, will you grab this so he can hold that? You take this and chop those, add them to that, and have her throw that whole thing of spinach in there. So we're adding a whole thing of spinach. This is 5 ounces of spinach. This whole thing. That whole thing is going in there. It's gonna
You're
really
gonna chop
cut
that,
down.
right? You're not gonna put it in.
And then we're gonna chop up these artichoke hearts, and that's gonna go in there. Okay.
What was
You're
the
gonna
weight of
saute
the
it.
tofu package? Was that a pound?
That was this one particular one is 14 ounces.
Because
Yeah.
it says a package.
Yeah, it's just one package. Okay, I think I have everything in here except for the basil. I don't know where that went, but we're just gonna leave it out. And where's my lid? And we're gonna now blend this all up. Okay. So what is gonna happen now is our veggies are getting sauteed, our spinach is wilting, and then we're pouring this whole thing into that skillet and bringing it to a boil and stirring it until it gets thick and stretchy, okay?
Does it get a little bubbly to it?
Well, it will bubble because it's boiling. So they're gonna stir that, and then once that's done, I'll have them bring it back. So when one of them comes back around the corner, we will hand them back. And then we will put it in our casserole dish after we do that. Okay. Can you, can you take that to them and have them bring me out now the orange ball platter, yeah. Okay. We're gonna now be transitioning to our sweet recipes. Yeah.
Did you find water fry?
question. Often when you use flax seed, you call it flax A. It's 1 tablespoon of ground flaxseed to 3 tablespoons of water. I was lazy and I was just throwing the flaxseed in. Yeah, I added a little water, you know, because it was a little dry, and then kind of imitated the egg. If your recipe was a little bit dry, yeah, because ours was a little dry, we added a little water. I could have cut back also on the amount of flour because it was a little dry. So yeah,
Like chia seeds where it gets gelatinous.
it does get gelatinous as it is. Yes, chia seed will work too. Ground chia seed, it's a little darker in color.
But it'll do the same thing as chia seeds.
Right. Yeah, it will work the same way. Okay. So we are now going to move to our cheese, let's see, we are on the orange, Christmas orange balls. It's our next recipe. This is a super easy recipe that really you can eat anytime. It's like a energy ball. You know, have you ever seen people make like energy balls for like a little snack after a workout? This is a good one to put in a kid's lunchbox. It's like a really healthy, sweet treat, but it's all naturally sweetened from fruit. Okay? So, for this one, we are using, my original recipe was actually a lemon ball, and it had dried pineapple in it. But when I went looking for dried pineapple, I couldn't hardly find dried pineapple anywhere. But I can find dried mangoes pretty easily. This is, of course, the one from Costco, and this is an organic one. What I do love about this one is it has no added sugar. If you buy dried mango, let's say at Aldi's, they often will have sugar on it, which you can get. You just want to take it home and I rinse it off first because I don't need that extra sugar. Okay. This is unsulfured. Yeah. So it's a little bit more dark than the sulfured version would be. So we're going to put a cup.
What does that mean?
What is what? Yeah, it's got a coating on it. It's probably not as healthy for you. But a lot of the dried fruits have them. And it's like stuck in here. So we are, again, estimating how much is a cup. Is that about a cup? That's about a cup. Maybe a little extra.
If you weighed that, 8 ounces, would that be the same equivalent?
8 ounces? Oh yeah, if you were getting a package that had the amount on it.
Or a scale?
Yeah, I'm just using a cup of that, and then a cup of golden raisins.
Are those the mangoes you used tonight for the?
They were. They were. I'm gonna use that whole bag. Okay, and then we are adding our cashew nuts. These are not soaked, they're just raw. 3/4 cup of cashews. And then we're putting in some fresh squeezed orange juice. So it says a tablespoon, so we're just gonna squeeze a few of these in there. Alright, and then we're putting a little bit of the orange rind. If you're doing that, I would recommend using an organic orange. This so you're not getting all the pesticides. Also, when you're putting oranges in your apple cider, like I did for you guys tonight, use the organic oranges. And this is just a little zester. You can add as much as you want, but that looks about a tablespoon. And then we want a pinch of salt, which I think my salt walked away. So we're gonna call it good.
Oh no, you got good salt.
No, yeah, you think I need the salt? It's just a little bit.
Okay.
Okay.
And she's bringing you the salt.
Oh, they're bringing me the salt. Thank you. All right, these will have a little, what is it called, a quarter teaspoon? A quarter teaspoon looks about like that.
It's about a half.
If you don't have a food processor, can you use a blender?
It'd be hard to chop.
It would be hard to chop in a blender. My favorite, you know, I use a food processor, a high-speed blender, and my Instant Pot more than anything else. Those are my 3 lifesavers as a plant-based cook. So invest in one. Put it on your Christmas wish list. Okay. Why is this not? Yeah, it's really going.
Don't let it get away.
Yeah, exactly. Don't let it get away. Wow, that looks awesome. It is still hot. Can you guys see this?
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah, I'll hold it.
Yeah, it's very, very cheesy like.
Yeah,
Like, it's,
very cheesy consistency.
yeah. So then we put that into our casserole dish and we, yeah. No, I probably should spray a little oil in there first.
Okay.
And then you would bake it for 30 minutes until it gets a little browned on top. That was it. Great job, guys. Okay, I think this is pretty much about ready. I think I'm just gonna go 1 more minute. And if it looked like it was too dry, you can always add a little bit more orange juice. But it's balled up, and that's what it says, until it creates kind of like a dough, right? Okay, so there you go. So you form it into your little balls, and then to add your snowy effect, you roll it in unsweetened coconut. I like the unsweetened version. This is Meyer's version. There you go. Very, very pretty. And doing it with the orange slices and the cranberries, I just thought it looked so festive, right?
Yes.
You know, back in the 1800s, oranges was like a really awesome Christmas present. You know, you ever read the stories, Laura Ingalls Wilder, Little House on the Prairie? They would get an orange in their stocking at Christmas because back then, getting oranges was, I mean, you just couldn't find them, right? But at Christmas time, you could get them, and so that was often a Christmas present. So that's why I thought, I'm going to make these Christmas orange balls in honor of our heritage.
My husband's 72 and they all just got oranges.
They all got oranges too. Okay. Okay, we are ready for our last recipe. Alright, you would have them bring me out the brownies. The brownie platter. Okay, our last recipe. How are we doing on time? 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock? All right, we're doing good. 8:02. Okay. So our last recipe is one that I actually pulled from our last event that we did here, which was our diabetes recovery program. And today, at least 1 out of every 2 Americans is diabetic or pre-diabetic. It is a huge problem in our country. And most people don't even realize they're pre-diabetic. But if you're pre-diabetic, you're on your way to being diabetic here in a few years, unless you make some drastic changes right away. And one of those, a lot of people think, oh, well, that just means I need to cut sugar out of my diet. Well, that helps, but it's bigger than that. And if you want to learn more about this, Mary Lou, who's on my team, she led out in this program. Yeah, she did a great job. She is a type 1A diabetic and manages it through plant-based eating, exercise, all of that. But one of the things that can really help with blood sugar control is adding more fiber into your diet. And so this recipe is called Secret Ingredient Brownie Bites. And anybody want to tell me what the secret ingredient is?
Black beans.
It's not flax seeds. No.
No, the black beans.
Oh, it is black beans is the secret ingredient. Now, why would we put black beans in a brownie?
Color, texture.
Well,
Fiber.
you're adding fiber into it. And the fiber, what fiber does, and this is why beans are such a good food for anybody with blood sugar issues, is that it slowly releases sugar. There's still carbohydrates in beans. But unlike simple sugar, which would quickly spike your blood sugar, a bean or something that's a complex carb is going to release that sugar very slowly. So it's going to help maintain your blood sugars rather than giving you a big spike. Now, most brownies would be off the radar for anybody who's diabetic. And yet at the holidays, you know, it's often a dessert that you find at a lot of holiday parties. So this particular recipe is good for diabetics because the beans in it are adding fiber. It's helping to lower that blood sugar spike. And we're also using very little sweeteners. Now there is some maple syrup in this recipe, but not very much. Only 1/3 of a cup, okay? That's not a lot when you think that this is going to make 24 brownie bites, okay, this recipe. So 1/3 a cup. Now, that was the original recipe that was in the diabetes cookbook that we gave to all of our attendees. But I wanted it to be just a little sweeter for the holidays. Because if you're taking it to a family gathering or party, people are used to eating stuff that's a little sweeter than maybe you've accustomed your taste buds to. So to add more sweetener but not affect the glycemic index, there is another secret ingredient, I guess, and that is stevia, liquid stevia. Now this particular brand is called Sweet Leaf, and it is Sweet Leaf Sweet Drops, and this is the chocolate flavor. they come in a lot of different flavors. They have an English toffee that's really good. They have a root beer that's really good in sparkling water to imitate root beer. Yeah, they have a berry flavor. This is the chocolate flavor. And here's the thing with liquid stevia. It's very, very sweet. So a quarter teaspoon, this is a quarter teaspoon. A quarter teaspoon of this is equal to a quarter cup of sugar.
Wow.
It's like 1 to 100, okay? So you're not using very much. This bottle will last a very long time because, again, a quarter teaspoon is equal to a quarter cup. So between the quarter cup of sugar from like this and your third cup of maple syrup and maybe a little bit of sweetness from the pumpkin, that's really all the main sweetener in here. Now, one other thing that is in this recipe, and I will need, guys, the glass mixing bowl, if you can bring that out, and a large spoon, is your chocolate chips. Now, for the recipe that I made for you guys, I used these ones. So these are the Simple Truth Organic Dark Chocolate Chunks. Often dark chocolate chips are dairy-free, and this one is, and this is more like chunks rather than chips. But if you are diabetic, you would not necessarily use these because these do have some sugar in them. I would go for a sugar-free one, such as these. This is Lily's Stevia Sweetened Dark Chocolate Baking Chips. Another brand that you can find. That might be a little overkill. Yeah. Like, this is another brand. This is Lakanto's sugar-free chocolate chips. This one's sweetened with monk fruit. These stevia and monk fruit do not have any effect on your glycemic index. And I also saw at Costco, they have also a dark chocolate, dairy-free perfect. And I'll need a big mixing spoon.
You got
Where
it.
did you say you got that monk fruit from?
I think I bought this one at, I don't know, Meijer or Kroger, one of those. I can't remember.
Where do you, is it in the area where the sugar
Where,
is?
it's where all the chocolate chips are.
Oh,
Same place as all the chocolate chips. Yeah.
Can you suggest a substitute for canola oil?
You could probably just leave it out, or you could use olive oil. Perfect.
Or how about avocado oil?
Or avocado oil. Actually, that is what I'm using. Is avocado oil. Yeah. Anyways, Costco had a sugar-free monk fruit sweetened chocolate chip too. I just saw.
Yeah,
So.
canola oil, you know.
So what we're going to do is start off with making all of our liquid ingredients. And I am throwing into my blender a cup of rinsed and drained black beans. And then a third cup of just regular pumpkin.
Can I say something about the canola oil?
Yeah.
I think this came from that diabetes cookbook that was maybe printed years ago. So they didn't really know yet then that canola was
Yeah.
GMO, yeah.
It's true. And I should update that recipe because I just took it right from that cookbook and I don't actually use canola oil at home. So I will update my recipe for the future. Okay, our third cup of maple syrup. I'm using avocado oil. At home, I only use coconut oil, avocado oil, and olive oil.
Could you use honey as the sweetener?
Yeah, I would think so.
Where do you buy those sweet leaf drops?
I bought this one at Natural View Market right here in town.
Grocery store.
It's basically 2 dropperfuls. That's it. Okay, now our avocado oil. Whoops, that was a little more than a tablespoon. Bring that one a little less. 3 tablespoons, right? Yep, 3 tablespoons. And we have a tablespoon of vanilla. This is a really fast recipe. In fact, I whipped up 7 batches of this afternoon for you guys.
Thank you.
It's so fast. So if you need a quick something to bring to a holiday party, okay, this is the almond butter I'm putting in. This is Costco's mixed nut butter, which is really cool. It's almond, cashew, pumpkin seed, chia seeds, and flax seeds. But you could just use peanut butter or just regular almond butter if you wanted. But this was what was in my cupboard, so this is what went in. And now we're putting in our cocoa powder. Third cup right here.
Is that a big cocoa powder?
This is I just bought this at Costco. It's just
Cocoa powder.
just plain cocoa
I
powder.
have cocoa powder.
You could use cacao too. I sometimes use that. It's a little less processed. Okay, make sure I got all the ingredients. I do. All right, so now we're gonna blend this up. Alrighty, now in my bowl, I am putting my half cup of whole wheat flour, or in this case, I'm making gluten-free, so I'm using the whatever gluten-free flour that was I had out here, Bob's Red Mill.
Behind there.
Yep, and then baking powder. I like to use a no aluminum baking powder. So this is Bob's Red Mill baking powder, aluminum free. And there is 1 tablespoon of this. Okay, that's all our ingredients. So what I'm going to do is just mix up these 2 dry ingredients. Mix that baking powder in with that flour. And then we're just going to pour all of this liquidy. It's not very liquidy, it's more like pudding. Now it's going to seem really thick. That's okay. It's kind of like a very thick cake batter. It smells so good. So the pumpkin, I believe in this recipe, is kind of serving as your egg replacement. Have you ever used applesauce or something like that as an egg replacer? Yeah. So I believe that's what we're doing here with this pumpkin. You probably could use applesauce in replace of it if you wanted, but. All right. Okay, so now I'm just gonna mix this together. It's gonna seem like really dry, but it will all incorporate. Oh, and we gotta throw the chocolate chips in. It calls for a cup of those. So let's say,
Like that. Roll it in.
okay, it's very thick, kind of fluffy almost. See that? And the easiest way to do this, you can use a tablespoon, but I used a little cookie scoop. I actually really need one that's a little smaller than this size. And then I would spray my pan, but just pop it in there till it's about to the top. And then wet your fingers and just kind of smooth it out. Because when you put a bunch in here, like you just go down the line, they're kind of little misshapen, see? So then you can wet your fingers and then you can just smooth that out.
You would spray it, what do you spray it with?
Just a little bit of nonstick spray. Maybe that's not the best thing. 15 minutes at 350 is what you bake it for.
You
And
can
then-
buy nonstick olive.
Yeah.
Olive oil.
Oh, yeah.
Avocado oil.
What is aerosol?
No, they make them without aerosol now.
They make them without.
But hopefully they're not, aerosol.
All right. I think I got through 5 recipes. Goes a lot faster when everything's like already pre-measured out and everything. But I think that is the most recipes I've ever done in a cooking class. But you know, it's Christmas and I love cooking and it's a good time to make something special for all of you guys. I really hope you've enjoyed everything tonight. Let me mention a couple things here as we kind of get to the point where we're wrapping up. So, we do not charge for our classes. That's because we want everybody to feel welcome and able to come. But if you feel like you got some value out of this class and felt like it was worth your time and want to help defray some expenses or just show your appreciation, in the little red tin on your table are little envelopes, little donation envelopes. So feel free to put something in there and turn it into Marilyn at the registration table, or any one of our staff can take it. That helps defray some costs and just lets us know if it was worth something to you. Please consider coming to our next class. That's in January. It is more on wellness and natural remedies, which is something that we're very passionate about here at this church. So put that on your calendar. If you want to come, just text me or email us and let me know, and we'll put you down that list. And then our next cooking class will be in March. We'll be probably doing one a quarter. So if you're on our email list or you like us on Facebook, you'll find out when we're doing our upcoming classes and you can come. Remember, we have that free Christmas offer for the Creation Life study guides. So if you are interested in receiving those, just write your name down, contact on that, and turn that in at the table. And Christmas Eve, you don't have any plans that morning, you want to come hear some good music and some time to remember Christ, and we welcome you here to our church. That day or any Saturday, we'd be here on Saturday mornings. I think Pastor is around the corner. You can get him. I'll have him have a closing prayer for us. Did you enjoy yourself tonight?
Yeah.
Oh, very good. Well, thank you so much. I'm really glad that you guys were able to come and spend this evening with us. And if you do go home and make one of these recipes for the holidays, let me know. Tell me what people thought. You know, don't tell them there are black beans in the brownies. Just make them, take them to your holiday party when they're all gone, then tell people what's the secret ingredient. All right, come and pray for us.
All right, were you blessed, folks?
Yes.
All right, fantastic. Well, I hope you all enjoyed your food. I know I did, and she only needed 6 brownie batches, but I ate a batch.
You made a little too, go big.
And they're still not.
Yes, we can. We definitely will. So see us if you want more brownies and cookies. Let's bow our heads and pray. Our Heavenly Father, you have given us great gifts tonight. Thank you for this beautiful spirit in this hall, in this fellowship time we've had. Thank you for the healthy meals. Thank you for the presence of your Holy Spirit, Lord. As the Christmas spirit is among this group today, we ask that we would go out and share the blessings of good health and good diet with others. We ask this in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Have a safe travels home, a great Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year to you.